If you're a short-term rental host, your TV is probably the most overlooked part of your setup, but it's also one of the most important points in your home. It will be one of the most used amenities in your house, so it's important you get it right. A bad TV setup can cause you unnecessary hassle, even cause bad reviews, but a great one, it makes you look professional, saves you time, and can even make you extra money. So this video is going to be the ultimate guide for the TVs you need in your short-term rental. Before we get into the recommendations, let's talk about what actually matters when choosing a TV for your short-term rental. First and foremost, you want a TV that's easy to use. You do not want complicated menus or weird remotes or stuff like that. Now this typically means avoiding, slightly obscure operating systems that sometimes come with TVs, such as LG, Insignia, some of those other ones. I mean, my personal recommendation is always to stick to the major operating systems, which are Google, Amazon, Roku. You also want a fast and responsive TV. You do not want something that's lagging all over the place and difficult to use or maybe crashes a lot. You're also going to have a much easier time if your TV comes with all the major streaming services built in and already has one of those operating systems that I previously talked about built in. So that means getting a TV with a Google TV operating system, an Amazon TV operating system, or a Roku TV operating system. Now, if I had to pick an absolute favorite, it would be Google TV. I'll get into that later. But if you stick with those three, you're generally in pretty good hands. You also do not want something that is too expensive. Maybe if you're running a super high-end short-term rental, you can look into that upper range of TVs, but for the most part, and this goes for everything in a short-term rental, you don't want to get something that is so expensive that if a guest breaks it, you're going to be really upset, because at the end of the day, stuff does get broken in this business. People, do stupid stuff, and yes, there's insurance, air cover and stuff, but it's just not something you want to deal with. And if you have, a $300-400 TV that's still really good, you can get 4K TVs for like $400 these days, as opposed to, like a $5,000 incredible TV that gets broken. The emotional distress of getting the $400 TV broken as opposed to the $5,000 TV is going to be quite a bit different, obviously. Now let's get into some of my actual TV recommendations. Now, this one right here is honestly quite difficult to beat. So you got a 55-inch TCL 4K TV with Google TV built in. Has amazing reviews, and you can go bigger, smaller if you like. Super affordable. Obviously, TVs are have come down a lot in price in the last couple of years, and when you're talking about a 65-inch TV for $369, it's also 4K with Google TV built in. I mean, it's just incredible of the amazing technology you can get for an affordable price these days. And this is probably be my #1 overall recommendation. But again, it all comes down to personal preference, depending on what you like. But this is what your search should start at, in my opinion. It's cheap, high quality, hard to beat, honestly. For those of you unfamiliar, having Google TV built in also means that you'll have all the streaming apps like Netflix, Prime Video, Max, Hulu, whatever you want, right out of the box. Now, one other cool thing I really like about Google TV, which is kind of like a funny Easter egg, is that you can actually install games on them. So you can have Pac-Man, Pinball. I have them on some of my short-term rental TVs. Look, it's not a total game changer, but guests really do like it, especially kids. It's like a fun little thing. You can play it right off the TV remote. And of course, shameless self-plug here, Google TV is the only option that allows Welcome Screen, our product that you have on behind me, which allows you to monetize your TV and actually create an entirely new revenue stream for your short-term rental to come on automatically, which will massively increase the effectiveness of your ads, as well as promoting your own direct booking brand. If you want the absolute simplest option, I would go with the Roku Class Select Series 4K Smart TV. This is probably the most dummy-proof TV, if that makes sense. So it's very simple. It's hard to not know how to use, so it'll help your guests use it very intuitively. One thing I forgot to mention about Google TV and Roku and Amazon as well is that they come with hundreds of free channels. I think Google TV has the absolute most, but all three of them have it. They have free news channels, free sports channels, free movies, which is really cool. Gives your guests a huge selection to choose from, and you don't have to pay anything additional for it. It does come in at a slightly higher price point, and it is actually made by Roku itself, where they have been making TVs for not as long as some of these other legacy TV providers. So that may come with some more issues down the line, as they might have a couple more bugs and less thought out features as some of the older legacy TV brands. But look, you can't really go wrong with this. 65-inch, $400 TV. It's going to be a great addition to your home. And now the last option I'm going to show you guys is actually the Amazon Fire TV. This is brand new. They just released it. Again, pretty much the same as the other ones. Only difference is you're going to have an Amazon operating system as opposed to a Google or Roku one. Now, I would like to point out that this one, although it is a little bit cheaper, does have the worst reviews out of the three. But if you're a big Amazon fan and you like their software and the way it looks or the way it works, you can go with this one. It probably also integrates really nicely with Alexa and all those kind of things, although to be honest, I haven't tested that completely. However, I've used Fire TV plenty, does work great. Again, this is all kind of a personal preference thing. My personal favorite is Google TV, but think about what kind of softwares and which companies you like using anyway, and then go from there. Now, if you're wondering what TV I had behind me this whole time, this is a 65-inch Sony Bravia 4K TV with Google TV built in. As I said, I like Google TV the most, and it's also the best for our product, which is Welcome Screen. If you're interested in that, I'll cover it a little later in this video, but you can also check it out in the link below. But essentially, we allow you to easily put local business ads on your TV, which if guests scan, you make 8% of the revenue. And it can turn quite quickly into a nice, significant revenue stream. You can also link things like your direct booking site, promote your brand, remind them of checkout time, all useful stuff. And I don't want to forget the personalized message, right? And that guests love when they come in and they see their name on the TV. It's typically only something available to high-end hotels, but we've made it affordable to everyone. Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't recommend getting a TV this expensive for a short-term rental. I did, go a little higher end because I use it for showing in our videos and everything. So for me, it was worth it to do that. But in my short-term rental that I personally manage, I don't have any TVs that cost, above $600. I really just don't think you need to with how cheap things have got and the quality you can get for like $400 or $500. Now, what if you already have an older TV, but you want to upgrade the experience? If it's really old and it's only playing in 1080p or something, your best bet might just be to toss it, but you don't necessarily have to do that straight away, right? You can try upgrade it with a streaming device. And these are generally very cheap. They range from $15 all the way up to like 120. And they can really improve your TV experience for a fraction of the cost of buying an entirely new TV. So here are my top 3 favorite options when it comes to streaming devices. Here is my absolute favorite, number 1, the ONN Google TV 4K Pro. So this costs only $50. It's super powerful, more powerful than the other options I'm going to show you, and is definitely the best value for money in my opinion. It comes with tons of cool features. It comes with voice control, so you can open Netflix and things just by saying open Netflix. And I've tested every single streaming device because of the company that I run. And to me personally, this has been my favorite. There's slightly better, higher performing Google TV devices, but they're far more expensive. And the difference is very marginal compared to how much more they cost. Comes with a super easy to navigate remote, super easy to navigate through the system. I mean, all Google TV is the same, but the remote has like a cool free TV button. It's also backlit, so it's easier to see in the dark. Essentially means there's light behind the buttons. Voice control, all the kind of good stuff you need. But yeah, highly recommend checking this out. Walmart is also really cool. I didn't even realize this until this year, but Walmart's really stepped up their delivery game. So when you order one of these, you get it literally the next day. And it's very high quality. And I feel like it's just nowhere near as popular as Amazon Fire or Roku, which is surprising to me, but I do think we'll start to see more and more people using these. All right, my second most recommended option is gonna be this Roku streaming stick 4K. Again, pretty affordable, slightly less powerful than the ONN 4K Pro, but really easy to use, really easy to install and manage. You're not gonna have any issues if you go with this. I used these before I started using the Google TVs and I never had any issues. My guests had a great experience with them. I just moved to Google TVs because the increased functionality as well as the ability to use my product better with Google TV. But then last but not necessarily least is the Amazon Fire Stick 4K. If you do have Amazon Prime, this is a great option, although I don't know if you want your guests having access to Amazon Prime because that can go really wrong. However, it is an option. They also are on sale quite a bit of the time, so I would say they're typically the cheapest. It's not quite as powerful as the ONN 4K. I'm not 100% sure about the Roku, honestly, but I do think it's around the same level. Again, super easy to use, lots of free channels. You won't have any issues with it. I think if you stick with Amazon, Google, or Roku, you'll be fine, right? It's more, straying outside of that, that's when you start to get into issues, or if you're using native TV softwares like LGs or something, some of them are a little tricky to use, and you will get complaints / questions from guests on how to use it, especially if, from your older guests. Now here's where it gets fun. You can actually make money off your TV. Now, apologies for the glare coming from the window. It's light outside, not much I can do about it. But essentially, this is our product. It's called Welcome Screen. You can monetize the space on your TV. Now, if you think about it, wherever your house is, there's tons of local businesses surrounding it, right? And all those local businesses, they want to advertise to tourists and essentially your guests. So you actually own the most valuable advertising space in the resort or location, wherever your place is, right? Now, this is something I'm actually personally running in Hawaii. Sorry, I had to blur my personal contact information out. You can never be too careful on the internet. These ads I'm showing are highly relevant and local. So the two commonest questions I get in my place are, where's the best place to go snorkeling? So I have a snorkeling ad. And then where's the best place to rent surfboards or get a surf lesson? So my next one is a surf lesson, right? And if anyone books through these QR codes, I make 8% of the revenue. And you don't have to go out and make these deals yourself. With the Viator Partner Program, it is super easy. I can literally just go on there, grab the affiliate link it to my tasteful, nice ads, and then boom, done. You can actually pause this video and try scan one of these QR codes. That probably depends on how big your screen is. But if you scan it, you'll be able to see what my guests see when they scan it. And if you were to book anything on Viator, then I would make 8%. Now, it's also really useful for promoting your personal brand, which for my case is Tranquil Trips, right? The more times your guests see that, the more they're gonna remember it, and the next time they're gonna wanna stay with you as opposed to just going on an Airbnb stay. Your stay now goes from an Airbnb trip to, hey, in my case, it's gonna be a Tranquil Trip stay, and they're gonna remember my brand. And the link to my direct booking site is super clear. I have save 20% on your next booking, right? We're just really helping with the guest awareness that they can book direct. They don't have to go through Airbnb. Next time they wanna come here, they can book through me personally. They won't have to add that extra 20% service fee on top of their charge. I also have some smaller ads down here that I think would people like, and I can switch these out depending on who I know is coming. If it's a couple, I have sunset cocktails up here, but if it's a family, maybe I'll have something different. I also have like a traditional warrior dinner that they can go to. And then last but not least, this message is awesome. It's a really easy way to surprise your guests and do really nice things for them. People love it when you surprise them with a happy anniversary message or something like that. Or you can just leave it as a more general message like I have, and the name automatically changes based off your reservations. Also, as a quick final tip, no matter what TV you buy, make sure you get it wall mounted if you can. It looks so much more professional and clean as opposed to having it, on a stand. Obviously, it's not possible for everyone, but if you can do it, I'd highly recommend either mounting it yourself or paying, a small amount of money to get someone to mount it for you. Links are in the description for everything I recommended. Happy shopping, and I hope this video helps you create an incredible experience for your guests.